Elisa Moretti is a 24-year-old aspiring photographer, adventurous and with a thirst for hidden beauty. Luca Rossi is a 50-year-old Venetian gondolier, gruff but with a twinkle in his eye and local knowledge in his veins. Elisa adjusts the strap of her camera bag, excitement buzzing in her veins. Luca, her gruff but reliable gondolier, pulls the gondola to a gentle stop against the mossy steps leading to the Campo Santa Maria Nova. The mist dances around the weathered facade of Ca' Dario, its ornate masked gargoyles leering down like silent sentinels. Luca raises an eyebrow, his rough voice rasping in the damp air. "You sure about this, little one?" Tourists usually flock to St. Mark's, not haunted palazzos. Elisa flashes him a grin. "That's the point, Luca. Hidden beauty thrives in the shadows. Besides, Ca' Dario's story is too alluring to resist." Luca shrugs, amusement dancing in his eyes. All right. Just be careful, those masks seem to follow you with their empty stares." Elisa dismisses his warning with a laugh, steps onto the damp cobblestones, and turns towards the looming palace. The ornate Gothic archway yawns open like a tomb, inviting her into its dark embrace. As she takes her first tentative steps, the shadows seem to deepen, wrapping around her like a cold shroud. The silence is heavy, broken only by the distant clanging of a church bell and the rustle of an unseen breeze. Every stone, every archway, whispers tales of tragedy and ill fortune. Then, a flicker of movement in the corner of her eye. A fleeting glimpse of darkness, a shadow detached from the wall, a whisper of something unseen. Elisa whirls around, heart hammering against her ribs, but sees nothing. Was it just her imagination, fueled by the stories and the suffocating darkness? She takes another tentative step, her eyes darting between the shadows, expecting every grotesque mask to leap to life. The air suddenly turns frigid, making the hairs on her arms stand on end. A whisper, like the sighing of the wind through forgotten corridors, brushes past her ear. No words, just a cold caress of despair. Elisa stumbles back, fear finally breaking through her bravado. She needs to get out, this place is consuming her. But as she turns to flee, a chilling realization washes over her. The stairwell has changed. The steps she descended are gone, replaced by an endless chasm of darkness. She's trapped. Panic claws at her throat as she scrapples against the cold stone wall, searching for a handhold, a way out. Her cries echo through the stairwell, swallowed by the oppressive silence. The shadow figure materializes again, closer this time, its form coalescing from the darkness. Elisa can't see its face, only the empty darkness where eyes should be. But she feels its malice, its hunger for fear. She screams, a primal cry ripped from her soul, as the shadow lunges. The rest is lost in a maelstrom of terror. The camera clatters on the floor, a lone witness to the nightmare unfolding in the Venetian shadows. Luca, alerted by the distant scream, finds the stairwell empty, the air thick with an unsettling silence. Elisa Moretti, the aspiring photographer who chased secrets, has vanished, consumed by the shadows of Ca' Dario, another victim of its timeless curse. The Palazzo Ca' Dario stands untouched, its secrets safe within. The silence in the stairwell was suffocating, punctuated only by Luca's ragged breaths as he crouched by the abandoned camera. Elisa's scream, raw and full of terror, still echoed in his ears, leaving a chilling vacancy in its wake. He scanned the narrow passage, eyes searching for any trace of her, any shred of explanation. But there was nothing. The stone walls rose around him, cold and damp, the grotesque masks leering down from the shadows like silent judges. Fear, a bitter, unfamiliar taste, crept into Luca's throat. He'd heard the whispers about Ca' Dario, the tales of misfortune and shadows that devoured souls. He dismissed them as tourist lore, mere embellishments to a Gothic palace already draped in history's mysteries. Now, however, doubt gnawed at him. Elisa's disappearance, the palpable coldness of the air, the lingering echo of her scream, it all spoke of something unseen, something malevolent lurking within the palazzo's heart. Taking a deep breath, Luca forced down the panic and a decision crystallized in his mind. He couldn't leave Elisa to whatever had taken her. His calloused hand gripped the ancient stone steps, each descent deeper into the darkness felt like a descent into his own worst nightmare. The air grew colder, a creeping mist settling onto his skin like icy spiderwebs. The grotesque masks seemed to come alive in the flickering gloom, their expressions twisting into sinister grins. He reached the landing where the chasm appeared, the floor vanishing into an abyss of black mist. A cold dread washed over him, but the image of Elisa's tear-streaked face spurred him on. He spotted a loose brick near the edge, barely visible in the dim light. With a desperate prayer, he pried it free, revealing a narrow crawl space behind it. Hope, fragile but persistent, flickered in his chest. This might be Elisa's escape route, a hidden passage missed by whatever lurked in the stairwell. He squeezed through the opening, his body scraping against the rough stone, his heart pounding against his ribs. The tunnel smelled of dust and mildew, but at least it wasn't the oppressive silence of the stairwell. He crawled on, following the faint sounds of dripping water and his own ragged breaths. The tunnel twisted and turned, seemingly defying logic, until finally, a sliver of light pierced the darkness ahead. He emerged into a small, dusty chamber, a forgotten room within the Palazzo's labyrinthine belly. And there, huddled in a corner, her eyes wide with terror, was Elisa. Relief washed over Luca like a warm wave, but it was soon replaced by a new wave of horror. Behind her, in the shadows of the chamber, lurked the shadow figure. This time, it was clear. A tall, emaciated figure draped in tattered black robes, its face concealed by darkness, but its eyes, two burning embers in the gloom, held a predatory gleam. Elisa whimpered, her voice barely audible. "Luca," she croaked, "it followed me." The gondolier straightened, fear warring with his protectiveness. He wasn't a man of violence, but facing this monstrosity left him with no choice. He grabbed a heavy candlestick from a dusty table, its weight reassuring in his hand. The shadow figure hissed, a sound like wind through a graveyard, and stepped forward. Its form seemed to ripple and shift, an inky silhouette dissolving and reforming like smoke. Luca charged, the candlestick raised high, his roar echoing through the chamber. The clash was silent, yet brutal. The candlestick splintered against the creature's unseen form, a wave of cold dread radiating from it. Luca stumbled back, his hand tingling with an unnatural numbness. The shadow figure moved closer, its eyes burning holes into him. In that moment, a memory sparked in Luca's mind. His grandmother's voice, raspy with age, whispering tales of Venice's secrets. Tales of warding off shadows with salt and fire. Driven by instinct, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small pouch he always carried, a superstitious habit from his childhood. Inside, nestled among trinkets and lucky charms, were a few grains of coarse sea salt. With a desperate prayer, he flung them at the figure. The air crackled with energy, the salt dissolving into tiny sparks that danced around the shadow like fireflies. The creature screeched, a sound that tore at the edges of sanity, and recoiled into the darkness. Elisa scrambled to her feet, pulling Luca away from the chamber's entrance. They ran blindly, adrenaline masking the cold and the fear, stumbling through forgotten chambers and dusty corridors. They finally burst out onto a hidden balcony, overlooking the Grand Canal. Dawn was approaching, painting the sky with pale streaks of orange and pink. The first rays of sunlight touched the water, driving back the shadows that clung to the canal surface. Relief flooded Luca's heart as he pulled Elisa into a tight hug, her body trembling against his. They looked back at the Palazzo, shrouded in the fading mist, its ornate facade now bathed in the soft morning light. It appeared almost serene, the secrets and horrors concealed within its walls a whisper in the dawn breeze. Luca helped Elisa to her feet, her eyes still wide with shock but alive with the spark of survival. He wrapped his worn coat around her shivering shoulders, shielding her from the damp chill. "We need to get out of here," he said, his voice hoarse. Elisa nodded, her gaze never leaving the Palazzo. "What was that thing, Luca? What happened?" He shook his head, the events still swirling in his mind. "I don't know, little one. But it's gone now, vanished with the sun." They made their way back to Luca's gondola, Elisa holding onto him like a lifeline. The ride back to his gondolier's dock was shrouded in an uncomfortable silence, punctuated only by the gentle lapping of water against the boat. Back on solid ground, Elisa's legs finally gave way. Luca caught her, kneeling beside her on the cobblestones. Tears streamed down her face, a release of the terror held captive for so long. He held her close, letting her cry, his calloused hand stroking her hair in silent comfort. When the tears subsided, replaced by a hollow exhaustion, Luca helped her to his small apartment above the gondola repair shop. He brewed strong coffee, the aroma filling the room with a comforting warmth. Elisa drank it in silence, her gaze fixed on the steaming mug. "Why did it follow me?" she asked finally, her voice barely a whisper. Luca shook his head again. "I don't have the answers, little one. But you're safe now. That's all that matters." He knew Elisa wouldn't forget what they had encountered within the shadows of Ca Dario. The memory would forever be etched onto her soul, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks within beauty, the unseen dangers that whisper in the corners of ancient cities. But Elisa was strong, a tenacious soul with a thirst for adventure that even near-death experience couldn't extinguish. In the days that followed, she shared her story with Luca, piecing together the fragments of fear and adrenaline-fueled memories. The world learned of their encounter, whispered in hushed tones amongst tourists and locals alike. The legend of Ca Dario grew darker, its sinister allure amplified by the chilling tale of the photographer who faced the shadows and lived to tell the tale. Elisa never returned to the Palazzo, the echo of her scream forever linked to its cold stone walls. But Venice held her heart, its labyrinthine alleys and shimmering canals now tinged with a bittersweet memory. As for Luca, he never looked at the Grand Canal the same way again. The water, once a mirror reflecting the city's vibrant life, now held a hidden depth, a silent promise of secrets still waiting to be discovered, shadows that awaited the next lost soul seeking beauty in the darkness. The story of Ca Dario's shadows became a cautionary tale, a reminder that the most breathtaking beauty can conceal the most terrifying ugliness. And the memory of Elisa Moretti, the aspiring photographer who danced with darkness and survived, served as a testament to the human spirit's enduring strength, even in the face of the unknown. The shadows of Ca Dario may have retreated with the dawn, but their chilling whisper will forever echo in the hearts of those who dared to peek into their embrace.